चालू आहे ते. झाले तुम्ही जॉईन? पहिले वजगाळ सर आहे. बोलणं झालंय? नाही नाही, तुम्हीच द्या ना. हा नाही, ते काय असते कोऑर्डिनेटर म्हणून माझं फोनवर कम्युनिकेशन वगैरे सगळं चालू आहे त्यांच्यासोबत. म्हणजे दुसरं तुम्ही इंट्रोड्यूस करून द्या त्यांना. मी सुरुवात करून दे 2 मिनिटात की आय विल कॉल अपॉन आशिष उगले सर फॉर इंट्रोडक्शन, आणि तुम्ही प्रेझेंटेशन करा आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर मग पुन्हा त्यांना करू, असं करू. कारण मी इकडे होस्टिंग मध्ये असल्यामुळे काय होते की मला ते कंट्रोलर वगैरे सगळं लक्ष ठेवण्यामध्ये, पीपीटी शेअरिंग आणि त्याच्यामध्ये मग ते अडचण होते. नाही नाही, तसं काही नाही, काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही. पीपीटी बनवला का तुम्ही? हा बस, तर मग तर बढिया आहे एकदम. पीपीटी असला म्हणजे मग काहीच प्रॉब्लेम नाही, एकदम बढिया. हॅलो,
आवाज येत आहे?
काही नाही, माझा आवाज येतो क्लिअर?
हो, तुमचा आवाज क्लिअर आहे.
की माईक लावून घेतो मी तरी पण. माझा आवाज आहे ना क्लिअर आता?
सर येतो.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
गुड मॉर्निंग.
पीपीटी शेअर करून पाहून घ्या एकदा तुम्ही.
येस येस.
I hope it is visible.
येस, क्लिअर,
Okay.
विजिबल.
Okay.
फुल मोड करून पहा त्याला.
हाँ ये.
येस, बढ़िया, क्लिअर एकदम.
Okay.
पहिली स्लाइड राहू द्या आता थोडा वेळ.
Oh yes yes. Okay.
आज संध्याकाळी मीटिंग आहे, आला की नाही लिंक तुम्हाला?
कशाचं?
आज आपल्या AICTE ने आपले जेवढे STDP सँक्शन केलेले आहे त्यांची मीटिंग आहे ना.
अच्छा, तो आजचा होता का? मी कालच वाटलं मला कालचा आहे म्हणून.
नाही नाही, आज आहे 29 तारखेला 4 वाजता.
अच्छा, माझं कन्फ्युजन झालं, मी कालच जॉईन करून घेतलं.
हा
येस येस. हा करतो मी, आला होता मेल.
तुमच्याकडे कोऑर्डिनेटर कोण आहे त्याचा?
मीच आहे कोऑर्डिनेटर त्याचा.
ओके ओके. सगळ्यांचा रिव्ह्यू घेत असतील त्याचा.
अच्छा येस. सध्या बंद करू का?
चालेल, काही हरकत नाही. आता सध्या बस येतात, थोडं 2-4 मिनिटात येतील आता सगळे पार्टिसिपंट. चालू करू मग आपण लगेच. पीपीटी वाटल्यास भलाही तुम्हाला शेअर करता येईल. सध्या शेअर ऑफ करून टाका.
उगले सर,
आवाज येतोय?
तुमची पीपीटी शेअर करा आणि स्टार्ट करू मग आता.
ओके. दिसतंय?
ठीक आहे.
दिसतंय ना?
Good morning, participants. So welcome to this AICT sponsored 1-week short-term training program on computational intelligence in earthquake resistant design. So today, with the day 2, we are having again a very versatile 4 experts are there, and we will be listening from them regarding various concepts and insights regarding earthquake resistant design. So on the behalf of Department of Civil Engineering, Professor Ram Meghe, College of Engineering and Management, Badnera, I welcome you to all for this session 1. So this session will be now delivered by my guru and guide and our colleague Professor P.S. Pachgade sir. So he is with us, and now I will request Professor Ashish Ugle sir to introduce the today's speaker, and then we will start the today's session. Ugle sir.
सर पीपीटी विजिबल, स्क्रीन शेअर झाली का माझी? हॅलो,
आवाज कमी येत आहे तुमचा. Yes, okay, it is clear.
Good morning everyone.
Yes.
Extend a warm welcome to all the AICT sponsored 1-week activity on computational intelligence in earthquake resistant design. Find immense pleasure in introducing our honorable guest, Professor Dr. P.S. Pachgade sir, who has been working as a structural engineer since more than 30 years. We are thankful to him for taking time out of his busy schedule to enlighten us. He is working as professor in Department of Civil Engineering at PRMITR, Badnera, that is Professor Ram Meghe Institute of Technology and Research, Badnera, Amravati. He did his graduation in the year of 1984 from VRC Nagpur, now known as VNIT Nagpur. Also, he did his post-graduation from University of Roorkee in the year of 1986. He did his doctorate from Amravati University in 2003. In addition, he also did his MBA from Yashwantrao Chauhan Open University in the year of 2013. Considering his academic teaching experience, he is having experience of more than 34 years in the teaching field. And same time, he is working as a teacher for post-graduation in the field of structural engineering. He also registered as a PhD supervisor at SGBU Amravati from the year of 2005. He also worked as member for the construction committee for SGBU University. Considering his research publication, he published more than 100 papers in the international journal and international conferences. He also published 4 number of books. He did, under his guidance, 35 students completed their dissertations. He also supervised 7 number of PhD candidates, and 7 number of PhD candidates are doing the same. He filed 4 number of patents in the field of structural engineering. Structural design of various structures such as malls, industrial buildings, retaining walls, retrofitting of structures, and residential building is his own and special interest. He have honored with the award of UIWS Amravati for the contribution in the teaching field. He attended 5 numbers of faculty development programs as well as 2 numbers of international conferences. Considering his achievements and award, he is qualified in the year of 2009 for the Maharashtra Public Service Commission's Maharashtra Engineering Civil Services. He is recognized as postgraduate teacher at Rashtrasanta Tukolji Maharaj Nagpur University, Nagpur, and also working as a PhD examiner at Pune University. Considering the memberships, having number of membership in institutional and professional bodies is FIE, MIWWA, MISW, MISTE, MISET, UPA, INSTAT, ICI, ISE, VD, MIRC, and all. Considering his professional association, he working as a board of studies, ex-member of faculty of engineering and technology at SGBU Amravati University. So I welcome Dr. P.S. Pajgade sir to enlighten us. Good morning, sir.
I hope I'm audible.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Professor Ugle and Professor Khandwe. Let's start with the presentation. Now, earthquake engineering is a relatively young branch of engineering, and study of past earthquake is important for understanding the various features. Now, I will try to explain some of the points with the help of response of buildings during the past earthquake. Let's consider 3 earthquake. Killari earthquake, that is on 30th September 1993, almost 27 years ago. Then Jabalpur earthquake and Gujarat earthquake of 26 January 2001. All details are given here. The magnitude of Killari earthquake was 6.4. It was moderate earthquake, but more than 7,600 persons lost their life. In case of Jabalpur earthquake, it was magnitude 6. The loss of life was less, but the property loss was very high, though the magnitude is modest, 6 only. In case of Gujarat earthquake, its magnitude is 7.7. The intensity reach is 10. More than 25,000 persons lost their life, and the property loss was more than 20,800 crores. Now you can observe here the performance of load-bearing building in Killari earthquake. Now it is in Maharashtra, Marathwada area. Now this is the thickness of wall provided. This is another thickness of adjacent building wall, and this was supposed to be a lane. Now you can imagine the situation after earthquake. This is another photograph showing the cross section of wall. So whatever material was available, they have arranged it in a haphazard manner, and they constructed so-called walls. For protecting from the heat, they have provided very thick wall, and the result is in front of you. This is another building for bank. So total collapse can be visible. So this is the building for guest house at Jabalpur, from Jabalpur earthquake. It is a load-bearing building, two-storied load-bearing building. Only columns were provided for veranda. These front columns were provided. Otherwise, all other parts are load-bearing. Now you can see here there is some problem. So what was the reason behind this? There was a cupboard provided. So only half brick wall was available there. There was a door opening, and just adjacent to the door opening, without giving thicker masonry, they have provided half brick wall. And because of this, the resistance available was very low. And this was the reason behind the failure of the brick masonry. This earthquake was having 6 magnitude. Jabalpur is in zone 3. So maximum expected magnitude might be 6.7. And I hope you know difference between the 6 and 7. Almost 30 times more energy will be released in a 7 magnitude earthquake compared to 6. So if you consider 6.7, the energy released might be around 20 times more compared to 6. So the building must be ready for 20 times more forces. But this was the situation. Now let's try to understand something about earthquake. Now this is the direction, let's say this is the direction of earthquake. Then this wall will be strong. Why? Because the moment of inertia of this wall will be thickness 0.23 into this dimension, 0.23 into 3000 millimeter, let's say 3 meter cube by 12. That will be moment of inertia. So it will act as a just like a shear wall and very strong. But if you consider this wall and direction of earthquake like this, now we know earthquake is nothing but mass into acceleration. So if you consider this as a direction of motion, this wall will be very strong, very weak, sorry, because moment of inertia about this neutral axis will be 3000 into 230 cube by 12. So it will be very weak in this direction. Now building will be consisting of at least 4 walls. Say if you consider a single room, it will be consisting of 4 walls. For this direction of motion, this B wall will be weak, but A wall will be very strong because of because force is acting in its plane. So if these walls, 4 walls are properly connected, then the net effect will be good. So here it is seen. So if there is a proper connection between the strong and weak wall, then the behavior will be better. Now we already know that earthquake force may change its direction. Now it is acting like this. Next moment it may act in the other direction. So the strong wall become weak and weak wall become strong. So what is important? These walls must be properly connected so that box action will be there and the behavior will be better. Now here it is given, this corner portion is most important for transferring force from one wall to other wall. This is all about load bearing structures. Now we cannot have a solid wall, all solid walls, because it is of no use then. So we want openings for doors and windows. But if we provide opening very close to the corner, what will happen? This transmission of forces from strong to weak wall will be in problem. And that's why the positions of doors and windows will be important from earthquake resistant point of view. Again, if I consider wider wall and earthquake motion like this, then it will have better stability compared to thinner wall for same direction of earthquake motion, because the overturning moment here, lever arm available will be less. So there are more chances of overturning with a same height of wall, but thicker wall will be better for resisting the earthquake forces. If you consider same thickness and one is taller and second is smaller, then definitely taller wall will have more overturning moment. Now, if you consider this as a earthquake direction of earthquake motion, then these two cross wall will be strong one and this long wall will be weak one. If I consider this as a direction of earthquake motion, then this wall will act as a vertical slab and short wall will be supporting it. If the distance of support is quite large, definitely performance of this wall will be weak. So wall must have a support at regular interval so that its behavior will be better. Then you must be knowing the good features. We must have some lintel band which will connect all walls together so that the forces, transfer of forces from weaker to stronger wall will be better. If foundation is not good, then plinth band will be essential. But most important is the lintel band, which will tie all walls together. Whenever slabs is provided, the slab will act as a band. Now you can see here the load bearing building. Now we have seen the failure of the structure, but these are the structures which remain intact during the Kilari earthquake. There was a cluster of houses constructed right at the Kilari, which was the epicenter. But because of lintel band, there was no damage to this load bearing building. But the people were so confused that later on they have demolished this building, though these buildings were very strong enough for resisting the earthquake forces. Now the second example is a well constructed stone masonry wall. There was no damage to this wall. This is the inside view of another building with a uncoarse rubble masonry. Because of lintel band, there was no damage. This is the another building, Godon building. Now you can observe here the this is a long wall, and because of gable wall, the height of wall is quite large. So definitely effect of earthquake will be more. We have already seen the various points. So this leads to failure. Now if we have two-storied building with a pitch roof at the top, then we can have a plinth band, then lintel band will be essential. Slab will act as a lintel as a band. Then the lintel band is essential. In case of pitch roof, a band at the eaves level will be essential. And also this inclined band, gable band is essential if you want to prevent the collapse of this gable wall. So these are the features which are given in code also. And there is one good book, earthquake resistant non-engineered construction. So all these features are very well explained in that. In case of precast construction, if you are using precast panel, we have to be very careful because the bond action at the roof level will not be there. So we'll have to provide additional bond if you want to provide precast slabs. This was the basically in a Kilari area, Marathwada area, they used to provide a frame structure which is of timber. So this timber structure was very good, but the walls which they provided, thick wall, these were dangerous. So at many locations, these timber frame structure was in intact condition. The another bad feature was they used to provide thick cover at the top so that thermal comfort must be there. But because of this thick soil layer, large inertia forces were generated. This is another building. You can see the frame structure of timber is in intact condition, but thick walls, they overturned because of the earthquake force. This is another good construction, timber construction. This is so-called frame structure. The another important point which we must understand is the connection of all parts. Now you can see here there was a partition wall. So this partition wall must be connected to the main walls and columns and beams. Otherwise, these this type of overturning of partition wall is a possibility, because inertia forces will be acting on all parts, and this slender wall will be very vulnerable to earthquake forces. So if you want that this must be in correct position, it must be properly connected to the main structural element. Now same thing is also applicable for frame structure. Now we want to provide columns at far distances because we want column free spaces, and thickness of wall are very small, say 100 millimeters, because we want more carpet area. So dummy columns and bands will be essential for transferring the load of walls or whatever earthquake forces which will be generated in the wall to the main frame. So these vertical dummy columns and horizontal bands are essential for frame structures also, and there must be reinforcement provided in both. And the most important part is it must be connected to the main structural element. The bar must be inserted in the beams, slabs or columns so that forces will be transferred to the main structural element. If you do not provide this, then entire wall may get overturned. So it is from Jabalpur. The panel, if panel dimension is quite large, then some dummy members are required so that forces can be transferred from the walls to the main framing element. This wall was on verge of collapse. This is from the Jabalpur earthquake. Now this is the old guest house at Kopargaon. Now bands are essential and band can be provided in the form of tie bar. So tie bar was provided all around the building so that effect of band we can have. This is the old construction, but they have provided a good tie bar. Now I hope you must have seen this zoning map. So as per code, for second zone, we expect modified Markali scale or MSK scale intensity as 6. For zone 3, we expect 7. Zone 4, 8, and zone 5, 9 and more. These are tentative intensity which are expected, but we can have more intensity also in some local area, and which is visible from the zoning map for Kilari. Earlier Kilari was in zone 1, now it is abolished, but the maximum intensity reached in some pocket was 9 also in zone 1 at that time. So this is the location of a Bhuj earthquake, and these are the intensity line, isosysmal line. So Ahmedabad was is somewhere here, which is around 250 kilometer away from the epicenter, but the losses at Ahmedabad were quite huge. The reason behind this is non-awareness. So when we visited this earthquake affected area, we have found that the people were providing the Dholpur cladding and marble stone cladding. I hope you know the cost of cladding. But if you look at the size of column, it was not sufficient. So they were not instructed properly. That was the main reason behind the colossal loss of life and property in the earthquake. This intensity, MSK intensity and its description is given in IS 1893, so that we'll have to design for intensity, because uh, what is the effect of earthquake at particular location, that is most important. So we know what is the intensity for which we want to design. So description is there in a code. You can read this description so that you will understand the uh, effect. So the another important point is a rigid diaphragm. Generally we provide a slab, and if you consider the stiffness of slab will be very stiff. If I consider thickness of this slab, let's say 0.125, and this dimension as, let's say, 8 meter, then, and if I consider earthquake direction like this, then this slab will be very rigid. The moment of inertia of slab will be 0.125 into 8 cube by 12. That is moment of inertia in this plane. So slab will be having large moment of inertia, and so it will act as a rigid diaphragm. And what is the advantage of rigid diaphragm? This slab will transfer the forces to the various element according to the stiffness. So if I provide some shear wall here at the corner, the shear wall will be very strong, so forces will be transferred according to the stiffness. That is the advantage of a rigid diaphragm, and slab will be acting as a rigid diaphragm. So we must have a rigid diaphragm, and it must be at same level. If you provide slab at different level, then it will create a problem. So this is the example from Gujarat earthquake. It's a railway station building. This is railway station, and these are the railway quarters. Now it is a mixed type of structure, basically load bearing one. Now you can see some important features. The bands were provided, but the effectiveness of band was not seen. See, you can see here in the other picture, the bands. So this is one band and second band. There was no continuity of reinforcement, which is essential. And because of this, you can see this band is separated, this is separated, and another is separated. Here also, proper care was not taken for providing suitable development length. And this leads to the failure of railway station building. Again, slabs were not at same level. The main slab was at greater height, and veranda slab was at lower height. So whenever there is there are two diaphragms, there are many bad effect, and this was the reason why this railway station building was damaged badly. If you consider this building, railway quarter, now the building type was similar, but it was having a continuous band. The performance of this building was better. So within a distance of 100 meter, you can observe, if you follow the good features, the performance will be better. If you do not follow the good features, definitely there will be damage or problem. Development length is most important. Now we know that the forces in reinforcement and concrete, it will be transfer due to bond between the concrete and steel. So let's say this is a cantilever. So reinforcement will be required at the top, and these top bar will be in tension. So now if I consider that the force in a bar, sigma st, that is the stress in a bar multiplied by cross sectional area of bar, that will be the maximum force in this bar, maximum tensile force in the bar. Now this force will be transferred due to bond. If tau bd is the bond stress, permissible bond stress, then it will be developed because of the surface area. So what will be surface area? Pi into phi. Phi is the diameter. So pi phi into LD. LD is the development length. So this is the resisting force developed in a concrete, and this is the force in the bar. If you equate these two, then we will get the value of development length. If you want that required amount of force must be developed in a bar, then this bar must be embedded in a concrete for development length. It will depend upon the value of stress in the bar. Many a time this development length is not given proper attention, and that is the reason why, in spite of providing reinforcement, it is of no use. Now this is one building near epicenter. It is ground floor only. The sizes of columns were very good, but because of detailing problem, you can see there were a lot of problem. It is almost on the verge of collapse. Now, if you consider the gravity load, then the tension will be at the bottom in beam, and tension will be at the top because of the frame action. Here tension will be at the outer point in the column. It is under gravity. But if you consider earthquake effect, then the situation will be changed. Here, because of horizontal force, tension will be developed at the inner face in the column. Also, at inner face at this junction, tension is possible in the beam. So this indicates the bending moment diagram. So there will be large moment at the corner of the columns and beams. Because of earthquake effect, the moments are reversible in nature, that we must understand. So at the junction, there will be large moment in the column as well as beam. So and we know that splice or joint should not be at the point of maximum bending moment. Now here, unfortunately, the splicing is done at the junction only. So you can see the bad effect because of the splicing. Now here, this is the column, beam, and this is the junction, where we need maximum reinforcement at the top. Here only nominal bars are provided, 8 mm diameter. No attention towards the development length. It is required for the top bar as well as bottom bar. Now splice is exactly at the point of maximum bending moment. Then the another important point which you can observe here is whenever there is an earthquake, the cover concrete will be very weak, and there will be spalling of cover concrete. And once there is a spalling of cover concrete, you can observe here the tie. If it is not anchored within a core concrete, then there will be opening of the link. And if there is opening of link, these longitudinal bar will act as a slender member, and they will buckle, and which will lead to the failure. So these spacing of ties is most important. At the same time, it must be anchored within the core, then only it will be useful. This is very small point, but if it is not paid attention, this type of failure will be definitely there. In spite of providing large size of column and beam, if you are not specific about detailing, so there will be problem. So we discussed that cover concrete, there will be spalling of cover concrete. This is bridge pier. There is a spalling of cover concrete. There was a proper tie provided, and that's why the column is in good condition. Now here you can see the tie bar are most important. If diameter is very small, and if it is not properly anchored, then the support provided by tie bar to the vertical bars will be lost, and then there will be buckling of longitudinal bars. So each and every point is most important. So it must be provided due care. If you are providing reinforcement, but if you are not doing proper detailing, the reinforcement will be of no use. Now this indicates the importance of stirrups. Now this type of anchoring of lateral ties in a core concrete is essential. Otherwise there will be opening of the tie and then everything will be lost. If you provide closely spaced ties, then there will be confinement. If you provide closely spaced ties, then there will be confining effect. I hope you remember the triaxial test. If you provide lateral pressure, the strength will be more. Same thing is possible. If you provide closely spaced ties, then it will give confinement, and same concrete will give you more strength. And that is why the ductile detailing is important, and there is a special code also that we must follow. Same thing, there is an opening of this lateral tie and almost on verge of failure. This was a column which was started from plinth level. So proper connecting beam is essential and proper development length is essential. Otherwise, this type of problem will be there. Now there are good examples also. This is the two-storied load-bearing building at Madhapur, which is close to the epicenter. Now, whatever good features which we discussed, say lintel bands, proper distance from the end, all these were followed here, and that is why, though it was a load-bearing building constructed in stone masonry, there was no damage. This is a building from Gujarat earthquake. Similar building, whatever railway station which we have seen, these are the quarters, staff quarter for railway station. You can see there was a continuous lintel band and all good features, so there was no damage. So this is the building at epicenter only, Bachau, which was epicenter for Gujarat earthquake. Now you can see some features. There was large opening. So because of large opening, you can see there was failure of this wall. Lintel band was provided. In case of earthquake zone 4-5, we need vertical reinforcement also, and some reinforcement is also recommended at seal level. Only lintel band was provided, and because of that, this lintel band, it has resisted large amount of earthquake forces. There was absence of vertical reinforcement and reinforcement at seal level, and this leads to damage. Now same building, other figure, other photograph. Because of lintel band, this building is in standing condition. Now, if you provide vertical bars and bars at seal level, its performance would have been better. Now, if now all buildings, frame structure, they collapse in this particular village, Bachau. Only few load-bearing buildings with good features, they were in standing condition. So these indicate that if we follow good features, the performance will be better. So we discuss about the openings, importance of opening. Opening should not be very large. Now here the details are given. What is the maximum size of opening and total size of opening and its distances, etc., so that building should have a good response. So it is given in a manual of earthquake resistant non-engineer construction published by ICIT. Now this is another example, interesting one. This is the open ground story. Now these are column 1, 2, 3. This is also column. Now this is a brickwork provided for supporting this gate. This is not a structural member. This is brick pillar. This is the RCC column, and this is compound wall of adjacent building. Now this is, you can see in close up, this is the compound wall, and this is the column. Now you can see there is a crushing of this column. Now let's see the let's say this is building something like this. There are 12 number of columns, 3 multiplied by 4, 12 number of columns, and all columns are having same height. Let's say L, same height. Now, because of unwanted support here, which is provided by compound wall, the height of this member, this small member will be L by 3. Now we know stiffness of column K is 12 EI upon L cube. If L is the height, we will have 12 EI upon L cube. If you consider this small column, because it is supported by even by compound wall, its height is L by 3. And if I calculate stiffness of this column, 12 EI, now L will be L by 3. And it is cube. So stiffness of this short column will be 27 times that of long column. If you consider column of height L, then this is the stiffness. And if you consider column of height L by 3, then its stiffness is 27 times higher than the long column. Now, if you consider this type of building, let's say 12 column, and because of earthquake, say horizontal force acting on a structure is, let's say, 1000 kilonewton. If all columns are having same dimensions and same effective height or length, they will share the force equally, and force acting on each column will be 1000 divided by 12, that is 83.33 kilonewton. This situation when height is same, effective height is same for the column. Now, if you consider the second situation where one column has become short because of unwanted support. Now we have seen the stiffness of this column. It is 27 times that of normal column. So one column is having stiffness of 27 times K. The all other columns are having stiffness K. So total stiffness will be 11K plus 27K, that is 34K. So load share by these column will be 1000 divided by 38, that is 26.32. There is no problem for 11 column, but this short column will share 27 times higher force. So 210.64 kilonewton. So out of 1000 kilonewton, whatever horizontal shear force which was acting on a structure, these very stiff column has taken 710.64 kilonewton. And definitely the capacity was not there. And that's why there was a failure of this short column. Now, as per strength of material, we consider that a short member will be better. But if only one member is a short, it will be very strong and it will attract large amount of earthquake forces, which might be beyond its capacity, and this will lead to the short column effect, and there will be failure of that particular column. And this is most important feature which we must understand. And we must try to avoid short column. And if you cannot avoid it, then there are some measures given. These must be adopted so that this type of brittle failure should not be there. Now, with the help of statics, we cannot understand these particular things. You must understand the rigid diaphragm and dynamics so that we will understand the effect of short column. Many a time beams are provided at lintel level. Now this leads to short column effect. You can see here. Many a time loft slab is provided over the toilets, etc. And this also leads to short column effect. This is like one example. Loft slab is provided. You can see there is almost crushing of this column which is supporting the loft slab. Sometimes we provide only partial masonry. Now, because of this partial support, these columns will become a short column, and these columns will attract large amount of forces which might lead to failure. There are a number of examples where short column behavior will be there. Now, lift core. Generally, it is better if you provide a RCC wall for lift core. It will be very strong. But at the same time, this core wall must be properly connected to the main structure. Now, here lift core was very strong, but it was not connected to the main structure properly. So you can see only lift core is standing, all other entire building collapsed. Same thing is visible here. So we must understand strength and stiffness, and proper transfer of forces must be there. Many a time, instead of providing RCC wall, uh, say 4 columns and some brick wall is provided, which is not good. Uh, let's see why. Now, if I consider that RCC wall is provided, minimum is 150 millimeter thick. So 0.15 into 1.8 cube by 12. This is the sorry. This is the moment of inertia of wall, 0.15 into 1.8 cube by 12. If you consider these 2 columns which are provided instead of a shear wall, so moment of inertia will be, let's say 0.23 is the size and 0.35 is the depth. So 0.23 into 0.3 cube by 12. So this is the moment of inertia for 2 column. And if you calculate moment of inertia of wall upon moment of inertia of column, so that is 44. So same will be the proportion of stiffness. So this 150 millimeter thick wall will be 45, almost 44 times stronger than these 2 columns. And because of thin wall, we can have additional area also. So whenever it is possible, particularly for lift core, etc., it is better to provide a RCC wall instead of going for uh, column and wall. Then the simple shape must be there. If you are providing these type of shape, then because of torsion, center of mass and center of resistance will not be at the same point, and torsion will lead to the stress concentration at the junction. So we must have simple shape. If you want some special shape, then there must be seismic joints provided so that these block will act as a independent block. In case of L-shaped building or junction, there will be problem. Now you can see here the behavior of a L-shaped building. There will be concentration of stresses at the junction, and which will lead to the failure of the building. Then if you are providing 2 buildings, then there must be proper gap between these 2 buildings so that ponding can be avoided. So this is from Kandla port, there was ponding effect. This is from Mexico earthquake. The gap was not sufficient. So because of ponding, there was damage to the upper story of this particular building. Then the another important thing is we must have very strong column because columns are most important in resisting the earthquake forces. So we must have a strong column. But unfortunately, in most of the cases, we can observe people prefer weak column and very strong beam. Now you can see here example from Mexico earthquake. Because of weak column, these are the number of slabs which we can count, and columns are not visible because columns were weak. So this type of failure is possible. If you want to avoid this type of failure, we must have a very strong column. So you can imagine the plight of the people. Now this is again from the Gujarat earthquake. For 10-storied building, this was the size of column provided, 230 by around 450, and size of foundation. So it was not even sufficient for dead load and lie load. And that was the main reason behind failure and lot of damages. Then soft story For parking, we provide openings, no walls and at the ground level. Even brick walls are very strong in resisting the earthquake forces. If parking is prohibited, then extra precautions are required. Now, this is not a ground floor. This is the first floor. Because of collapse of all ground floor columns, this first floor has become a ground floor. You can see here crushing of the column. The earthquake force will be quite large. I have seen even a check post of size 2.4 meter by 2.4 meter with a 4 columns of 230 by 230. They were crushed because earthquake forces will be quite large. Again, similar type of things. It was a shopping complex. In case of shopping complex, because of shutters, walls will be minimum. So there was failure of a one story. You can see these are the columns which are visible. This building has collapsed by 1 story height. Again, this is another example of soft ground story from Jabalpur. This building was almost on the verge of collapse. So configuration of a building structural element is most important. So configuration means we must provide sufficient number of columns at proper location, and also we must provide structural walls in a symmetrical fashion. If you provide proper structural arrangement, then the behavior will be better. Otherwise, it will create a problem. So, effect of appendages. If you provide, say, a structure, say, staircase tower or parapet, it will act as an appendage because a cantilever action will be there. If you move from the bottom, there will be a lot of displacement of the top. So this appendage effect is most important, and it is mentioned in the code that these small structure on the top of the main structure must be designed for 5 times the earthquake force. So it is given in the code. Now you can see here, this is a small parapet which was provided, but there was overturning of this parapet wall. Because of large opening, you can see the brick pillar has crushed, and this is the staircase tower. Only half brick wall without any bands were provided. So because it was 6 magnitude earthquake, it is in standing condition. Otherwise, it would have been overlap. Now we can do the calculation for parapet wall. Let's say 1 meter long parapet, and height is again 1 meter. Let's consider 1 meter, and thickness is 0.23. So because of shortage of time, I will do this calculation very fast. We can calculate its weight. It comes out to be 4.6 kilonewton per meter length of wall. Now, as per code, these appendages, parapet, etc., they must be designed for 5 times the AH. So 5 times Z by 2 I by R into SA by G. So R for unreinforced masonry, it must be 1.5. So if you calculate these earthquake force, then it comes out to be 1.94 kilonewton. Sorry, 1.91 kilonewton is the earthquake force, and it will be acting at CG, say 0.5 meter. So the overturning moment due to earthquake force in parapet wall is 0.96, whereas stabilizing moment is weight multiplied by, if you consider the moment about D point, from D point CG will be at 0.115 because thickness of wall is 0.23. So overturning moment is 0.96, whereas stabilizing moment is 0.53 only. And you can see this is the reason. The earthquake force is quite large, whereas stabilizing moment is quite small if you consider the load bearing effect. And that is why it is essential that these parapet walls must be connected to the slab or adjacent walls, and coping is essential. Otherwise, there will be overturning of a parapet and only one brick will be sufficient for killing a person. And that's why these uh, parapets, compound walls, partition walls, all other non-structural elements are also important, and they must be properly connected to the main structure. The building must act as a one unit, then its performance will be better. This is the photograph of a properly constructed building. There was no damage to this particular building. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
So some participant can ask the question in the chat box. We will take 2-3 questions and then we will end this session. So thank you, Bajgaya sir. In very simple manner, you have explained many deep things are there which are related to take the concern while designing the building and their various structural elements. So it was nice insight regarding the lesson learned from the past earthquake. So there are some questions in the chat box, so you can ask them.
Thank you. I think, what is cladding? Cladding means vertical. Walls, whatever walls we provide, it is called as cladding. It can be brick wall, it can be some panels, or sometime for providing decorative shapes, we provide say glass cladding. Means now you must have seen that for many buildings glass is provided, toughened glass is provided, that is called as cladding. So it must be properly connected to the main structure, otherwise failure will be there. Why base isolation is not much practiced in India? Base isolation is a good technique, but it's quite costly. We cannot afford base isolation for each and every building. For hospital building at Bhuj, it is base isolated building which was constructed after Gujarat earthquake. But for normal building, we cannot go for base isolation. It's quite costly. Even if you provide normal features, whatever which are given in the code for load bearing buildings or for frame structure, the buildings will be definitely safe. The additional cost required is not more than 2 to 5%. So if you follow codal provisions, then definitely we can make the building earthquake resistant. If important buildings are there, definitely we can go for base isolation. But for every, because it's costly, we cannot go for all buildings. We cannot adopt base isolation for all buildings. If we consider isolated staircase, then what spacing in the main building, is it like ponding? Yes, good question. Whenever just we can calculate the displacement of each component. Say displacement of one part of the structure is say 2 centimeter, displacement of other part is say again 2 centimeter. Then this 2 plus 2, 4 multiplied by R, that is the minimum gap required between the two elements. So sufficient gap must be provided. Sometime even for 5-storied building, the gap might be 20 centimeter, 30 centimeter. So these gap will be filled with the help of crumble section, so that normally we can use this, but during earthquake there will be failure of this part, and after earthquake we'll have to repair this. So sufficient gap is essential. This expansion joint and seismic gap is totally different thing. Expansion joint will be at the most 25 millimeter or 50 millimeter, but this seismic gap required is quite large. For 5-storied building, we need more than 100 millimeter or even 200 millimeter gap is required, so that ponding can be avoided. Same thing is applicable for staircase also. If you are separating, in code provisions are given. So this provision must be used for keeping the sufficient gap. While designing building, if we have parapet walls everywhere in the building, do we need to design it for earthquake separately? Although we have, yes, these parapets, see, designing of a building is different and designing of individual part is different. See, if if you are providing freestanding parapets or some architectural element, then definitely there will be overturning. We have seen in the photographs. So proper features, say, if it is a frame structure, then we must take the column right up to the top, and then these parapet must be anchored in the column. So coping must be provided so that whatever earthquake forces which will be generated in the wall, that will be transferred to main structural elements such as columns. If columns are not there, then from slab you can take some bars and we can tie these bars with the parapet so that it will be connected. Otherwise, if this wall is acting as a freestanding wall, definitely it will overturn. So these are a small but most important point which we must take into account. Just now I have said that if it is a frame structure, then column must be taken up to the top of the parapets, and then RCC coping will be provided so that parapet will be tied to the main structures. If it is a load bearing, then we can take some reinforcement from the slab and it will be tied in the parapet. What is immediate occupancy? After earthquake event, if you can occupy the building immediately, then it is called as immediate occupancy. What is loft slab? Loft slab means, say, a toilet is generally provided at 7 feet height, 2.1 meter height. So whatever space between the, if you provide a slab at the toilet level, then the distance between the slab and upper slab that can be used. This slab is used as a is called as a loft slab. Remedies for short column effect. So as far as possible, we must try to avoid short column. If you cannot avoid short column, then ductile detailing must be done for throughout the height for short column so that its strength will be more and it will be able to take the forces. And we must calculate the strength and check whether it is safe or not.
Thank you, sir. It was very nice interaction and many of the participants now asking the question. So I think this was a good session of this STDP on computational intelligence on earthquake resistant design. So if anybody is having 2-3 questions, then that will take, and then we will end this session. And the next session will again begin at 11 a.m.
There is I think one question: how to increase stabilizing moment?
Yeah.
See, if with the help of weight, if we cannot provide stability, then it must be provided by reinforcement. If you connect the structure, say small structure to the main structure, we can definitely increase the stability by providing reinforcement, or we can increase the width so that stabilizing moment will be more.
So thank you, sir. Now we will stop here for this session, and the next session will again begin at 11 a.m. I thanks to Dr. Pasgade sir for giving this good session for this STDP. On the behalf of Department of Civil Engineering, Professor Ram Meghe, College of Engineering and Management, Badnera, I thanks to Dr. Prakash Pasgade sir for delivering this today's STDP session. So thank you, sir, for being with us. And I also thanks to all the participants for listening patiently and asking the question to to the expert and making this session very successful. Thank you for this session now here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
If
you, sir.
somebody is having question, then he can write it to me. I can answer
Yes,
that
sir.
also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Khandwe sir will provide details. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So now next session will start at 11 a.m. And now today we will stop for this session here.